We also have someone you heard just a few moments ago, Mr. T.V. Mohandas Pai, co-founder and chairman, Arin Capital Partners. And to chair this distinguished panel, we have Mr. Lovkesh Kapoor. Mr. Kapoor is the founding and managing partner of Ananta Capital, with experience in investment banking, venture investing, and of course, operating businesses. Before he set up Ananta, Mr. Kapoor was the executive director and head of investment banking at Client Associates, which is one of India's largest multi-family office firms. He also founded Wisdom Hill Capital, a boutique investment bank and investment advisory platform, which merged into Client Associates in 2016. If I could request Mr. Bikhchandani, Mr. Pai, and Lovkesh Kapoor to please come up on stage.
Thanks a lot for a nice introduction and good afternoon, all of you. I was just doing my own research a few days back and I caught up with Mr. Bikhchandani backstage. A few data points to begin this discussion. So last December 21 till now, the UK 10-year gilt bonds are down 52%. The MSCI Emerging Market Index is down 32%. For the first time in the history of Japanese economy, the Japanese 10-year bonds went untraded for 3 consecutive days this week. Amid all of this, if you see, India, IMF said 3 days back, is the only bright spot. And India is expected to be the fastest growing major economy in the world this year and next. And when I was reading all of this, an incident kind of replayed in my head. I'll share an incident with you. I was graduating out of my MBA class 15 years back. And as part of the convocation ceremony, our VC was addressing the entire student gathering there. And this was actually the start of global financial crisis. This was 2007. The world was about to enter GFC in 2008. And one of my batchmates asked the VC that, do you also feel that India is going to go through the same economic pain which the West is going through right now? The VC actually took a 10-second pause, took a deep sigh and said, कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जमा हमारा. And everybody was clapping and ecstatic. And I want to ask the panelists here that do you also share the optimism of my VC 15 years back, that India is still the bright spot, or do you think that the financial storm is about to hit us as well?
You know, you need a little bit of history to answer that question. Let me give you data. 1950, we are the largest economy in Asia. China was destroyed, Japan was destroyed, Southeast Asia was destroyed. 3 of the top richest families were in India, primarily in Mumbai, I think, because Delhi didn't exist at that point of time as the business center. And from 1950 to 1980, we grew at 3.5% a year. Population grew at 2.5%. Per capita income 1% a year because of Nehru's failed policy. Nehru made sure that we became poorer in 1980 than 1950. This is all data, not politics. 1980 to 1990, we grew at 5.5%, population 2.25%, but debt grew from $20 billion in 1981 to $80 billion, and we are broke by 91. 91, we opened up when we got our economic freedom. Our freedom fighters and forefathers fought for freedom for this country, but we got political freedom in 1950 in the Constitution, economic freedom in 91, because private capital was suppressed by Nehru because of his dalliance with the Soviet model and the Fabian School, and you know his disdain for business. And India has been a free market economy throughout our history. That's why we're the richest country in the world. But we destroyed in the first 30 years, and we're paying the price. But 1991 GDP was 275 billion. 2022 we reached 3.15 trillion. We grew at 8.2% a year in dollar terms for 31 years. It's incredible. You talk about it, Arnab. All those debates you have are irrelevant looking at this growth. What is this hijab debate? 8.2% a year every year for 31 years. We are a $10 trillion economy by PPP. We are the top 5 in most products in the world in agriculture and industry. All data is there. And In rupees, we grew at 12.5% a year from 5,72,000 crore to 236 lakh crores. In 2014, Shahzad, GDP was 113 lakh crores. In 2022, it's 236 lakh crores. And this year, we're supposed to go to 276 lakh crores. So am I optimistic? I lived through the last 30 years. I've seen the rise of this country. I've seen what people can do. I've seen that 108 unicorns. I've seen $1 trillion of value in the digital markets. I've seen the rise of Sanjeev. What do you want? I mean, if I'm not optimistic, what do you want to be? And I've seen Suhail speak. I've seen Anna become a great entrepreneur and disrupt the media. I've seen Shahzad on TV having everybody for dinner and chewing them up and spitting them out. If I'm not optimistic with all this, what do you want? Come on, give me a break.
No, I think you are much more optimistic than my VC was 15 years back. How do you feel, Mr. Bikhchandani?
Well, look, there are ups and downs. And as Mohan pointed out in his earlier talk, that look, valuations go up and down. There are capital ebbs and capital flows. But if your business is fundamentally sound, you'll be fine. And look, if you go back to what Mohan said about creative destruction and what Schumpeter said, yes, some may not survive. Entrepreneurship is Darwinian. Some may not survive, but the ones who are fit will survive and do well. But you know, the point I want to make, coming back to startups and investing in New India, which is the topic. So I graduated from college in 1984. So that's what, 38 years ago. And I joined a company. I was working as a trainee in a company. And when I look back to 1984 and I see today, there's been a huge change in the business environment, in the companies, in the economy, in the rate of growth, in how fast we are progressing. And when I look at it, actually a lot of the growth, a lot of the buzz, a lot of the investments, a lot of the increased employment has come from industries and companies that did not exist in 1984. So the IT services industry barely existed. IT-enabled did not exist. Mobile telephony did not exist. Private sector insurance did not exist. Private airlines did not exist. Private sector banks barely existed. They were legacy, but the new ones hadn't come in. Right? So if you look at the change, it's been brought by new companies, new initiatives, and very often by startups. You know, some by diversification, like TCS was a diversification of large business house, but HCL and Infosys were startups back in '84. Right? So actually, the startups of today will be the giant companies of tomorrow. All will not make it, but those that make it will become huge, and that will make the difference. So I'm optimistic.
And let me tell you, the optimism is not misplaced. Another data point, S&P 500 of US is down 18% since beginning of year. And Nifty and Sensex, the broader Indian stock market, is flat. It's not down. It's maybe a -1% down and is up today 1.5%. And the reality is that the world is really looking at India as the only bright spot. But another reality is that stock markets, generally globally, always discount future. So while the stock market is doing fairly well, but the startup ecosystem is reeling under pressure. I think we've not seen this environment since last 6-7 years. I think 2015 was the last startup kind of bust which happened of sorts. So when do you see the real animal instinct, so to say, coming back into the startup ecosystem, sirs?
Look, the animal spirit is still there. You come to Bangalore, I'll show you the animal spirit every single moment in my office. We get 800 startups coming and asking for capital every single month. I mean, in Delhi, you don't see much of that because you've got other issues. But you know, look, the problem is let's not carried away by the animal spirit being linked to flow of capital. Right now, people are not investing as earlier, throwing money, not investing. It'll come back next year because I think January, February, there is $276 billion of dry powder, capital waiting to be invested, and people are going to get tired of seeing stock price come down. They'll start investing, right? So it'll come. Let's not link this funding to growth of companies. Good companies are growing. They're still raising capital. But, you know, first half we had 16 billion. Last 3 months we had 3 billion. It's come down. It's not so much as that past. But people are happening. Now the key thing is, like Donald Trump said, when banks call you to the office and give you money without asking, take the money. That's what we did last year. We got $42 billion last year. You should have raised capital last year. You would have got $1 billion. You'd be a billionaire by now. We got $42 billion last year, okay? And this year it's come down. Before that, we got $12 billion. Maybe next year we'll get $30, $40 billion. The key thing is very simple. Market moves in cycles. Valuation moves in cycles. Be careful. You have to last it out. Money in the bank is like blood in the body. right? Don't get too much of blood transfusion, don't lose too much of blood, and you'll be fine. So I'm very optimistic. So this could last somewhat. But even today, good companies can go raise capital at reasonable valuation. So it's not that the money is dried up everywhere. Good companies can raise money. But if you're a company which is raising $1 billion, blowing it up in the next 6 months because you believe the more you spend, the more valuation you get, that's not going to happen for some time.
And you were telling me about a survey you did, Mr. Bikhchandani, recently.
Yes. No, look, I'd like to echo first Mohan's point. There is enough money available for startups and for early stage companies. We are seeing it. A lot of investors have got funds ready. It's just that they're being a little careful. They're asking more questions, taking a little bit more time, right? And they're applying some lenses when they're evaluating a proposal, which they perhaps are not applying so rigorously maybe 2 years ago. So now we ourselves have invested more in the last 6 months than we did 2 years ago in terms of number of companies. We are seeing about 1,000 companies a quarter, and we invest in 3 or 4 out of that. So no, it's not 800 a month like Mohan, but you know, Mohan, Delhi is okay. You know, it's not so bad. It's okay.
And you mentioned, Mr. Pai, that the irony is, and Mr. Bikhchandani was telling me backstage again, that all of this is happening at a time when there is massive amount of dry powder available. Dry powder means uninvested capital by the funds. And I was just talking to a few VC friends, one of the largest VC funds in India, just raised a $1.2 billion India dedicated fund, just a few months back. And bulk of that money is not invested till now. Another reality is that, which both of you mentioned, is that the economic cycle will always have booms and busts. That's the nature of the market. You'll always have ups and downs. The other side of equation is, to the investee company is the investor. Now what was happening, again a question to you, a few months back, a few quarters back, actually a friend of mine shared a fantastic anecdote a few days back. Till a few months back, the only discussion in investor meetings in boardrooms was chase growth at any cost. There is no unit economics, there is no profitability in question, just chase growth. That is what we are here to do. And now the last few months, the only discussion is where is the profitability, where is the EBITDA. My question to you, sir, is that this slowdown which we are seeing now, and I feel, and maybe you can correct me, that the whole mentality of chasing growth at any cost, I think is fundamentally incorrect. It has to change, but do you think that investors also will learn through this economic cycle now? Will people become more rational?
No, you can't accuse investors of too much intelligence. You can only accuse them of greed and fear because, you know, you pour money when the money is available, and when it dries up, you sit quiet, right? The cycle is going to happen again. That's the nature of the beast. Human beings move by greed and fear. They're the only two emotions that operate in the public markets, or the private markets. And that's going to happen again and again. It's not that somebody is going to calculate and do. Look, let me tell you one thing. Arnab comes to me and says, I'm starting something, give me $10 million. He's got a PPT. He gives me some projections. What are you going to do with the projections? Nobody knows what to do with it. For example, the regulators say, you must have a valuation report. That value, the guy who valued does not know half the business as it is. So when you do something, we'll tell Arnab, okay Arnab, I'll give you 10 million, but I want first in the waterfall, first money will come to me, and blah, 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 and all that, and I give him money, and it works. Well, I believe Arnab, he's passionate, energetic, he'll work 24/7, and he wants to be a billionaire, so ride on his back and make the money, right? That's how you invest. Because the PPT, what are the analysis you do? Analysis you do when you go to public markets like him and look at all the data, right? There's got to be data. You look at the face of the founder and, body language and all the nice stuff, how he talks, and you give the money. You understand? So investment is an art. Okay? And that's how you fund entrepreneurs. And you have a portfolio. If you have 25 startups, maybe 5 will be unicorns if you're very good. Maybe 10 will fail. It's fine, and you get decent returns because you're getting risk. In the last 30 years, the US, the returns have been something like 15 to 17% for venture, which is the highest class of assets in the United States. The data proves so. You understand? And they've gone through multiple cycles. So we're going to go through cycles. We've got to do this. But the key thing is very simple. You have to create a sustainable business. And what a sustainable business means? Sustainable business means cash in the bank is the only reality in economics and in life. Make sure the cash in the bank doesn't diminish. You earn cash flows, add to the cash, don't bring it down beyond a point, and keep it. And every day, open your ledger, do puja every day in the morning, till the evening, count again, and remain happy, then you survive.
What do you think, Mr. Bikhchandani?
Look, I think it's good. It's good discipline. that companies, if you build a big profitable company when money is a little tight. If you have too much money, you tend to spend it suboptimally. It's too easy. So it's good to have a little less money. You'll work harder. You will make things happen. And yes, some companies will make it, like Mohan said, and some may not, and that's life.
Just to add to what Mr. Pai said, I think Arnab is a businessman. You talk to him any time of the day. The only thing he talks about is profitability. That I'm here to scale the business, but it has to be profitable. So I think a lot of founders need to learn from Arnab also in that sense. So just one more thing, sir, in this context only. So while all of us in India are extremely optimistic about the prospects, I think India is doing fairly well macroeconomics wise. But what do you think is how is global market looking at India? So you must be talking to your global counterparts, your global counterpart investors. How are they looking at India right now?
You see, for the global markets, India has always been a curiosity and a rounding off error. Because, we didn't allow too much of capital to come in. See, only 2% of our GDP is coming in as FDI every year. Okay? This year we're getting 100 billion, maybe 3% because the GDP is much bigger. So India has been marginal to the world. We have been a controlled market. We are a much more open market today. FIs only own 600 billion of the 3.3 trillion dollars in the public markets. In the private markets, maybe 300 billion, right? Compared to China, which has got maybe many trillions dollars of value. Correct? And the total value of all the stocks and bonds in the world is $275 trillion. So we are very small. So we must understand we are very small. And we are still a poor country. Mera Bharat Mahan is very good, 5G is very good, everything is good. But our per capita income is 1,75,000. Bihar is only 50,000 rupees. Bihar is 50,000. UP is 80,000. Karnataka is 3,05,000. Bangalore is 8.5 lakhs, richest city in India. So diversity is very high. So we must understand, we have to be optimistic, we have to work hard, we are a poor country. We must take the per capita income to $40,000 a year. $40,000 a year will mean about $56 trillion of GDP. It's a very large amount, but we can still count. We know how to count, right? So please understand that the reality of India is very different from what we talk here. We have to be optimistic. We have to work towards it. We have a huge growth ahead. We are supply constrained, not demand constrained, but demand at a price. When the price is low, demand will shoot through the roof. That's what China did. Now, China has grown at 9.9% a year from 1978 till 2022. China is a $19 trillion economy, $30 trillion in PPP. Can we be a China? Maybe not. But can we grow at 8.5% a year for the next 10 years? Of course we can. We got a very clean banking sector, no NPS. They gave money to the Bush and Steel, 40,000 crores, to everybody. They should give money just like, we should have got money from the banks at that point of time. You made a mistake. They're giving out money, doling out money, 12 to 15 lakh crores of NPS. But they cleaned up their act. Now they become very strong banks. So banking system is in good shape. Stock markets are in good shape. Our supply chain costs are 14% of GDP. US is 6%, China is 7%. Because the GST has come down to 12%. Because of the roads that are building will come down to 10%. And if we get a warehouse that will come to 8%, we are becoming competitive in manufacturing. The PLI scheme is a fantastic scheme to improve manufacturing. And all the reforms and hard decisions have happened. Now the animal spirit in the Indians is there. And like Pranav said, young people are optimistic. They want to be enthusiastic. They're going to work hard. They're going to use technology. They're going to take India forward. You understand? And that is what makes you enthusiastic. And that's what is going to create this country. And let us remember one thing. Whether you like it or not, the sun will rise in the morning and set in the evening. And it's going to happen again and again. So be optimistic, rise up with hope, work very hard, and have a great dinner, go to sleep, get back, get to work, and go ahead. And that's what it is, right? Right, Sanjeev?
Absolutely, absolutely.
He's a billionaire. Sanjeev is a billionaire, but look at the man. He works 24/7. He doesn't have a jet going off for a holiday to wherever rich people go for holiday. Suhail, you got to tell him how to spend his money, man. He doesn't have style. Look at this guy. Get him a nice wardrobe. Get him a nice wardrobe. Make him up. Get him all those nice, all the glamour in London and all that. Go up to this guy. Look at this guy. Billionaire. People will be ashamed of billionaires if they see Sanjeev.
I have nothing to say to that, but so we'll be a meeting, okay? No, so look, our feedback on how foreign investors are viewing India. I know, I don't know that much of public markets, but I know more about private markets. Well, I know public markets also because we're listed and we meet investors. I think, look, China is definitely not flavor of the month right now, as far as US and Europe are concerned. So there isn't money is coming out of China. Now, if there's a certain emerging market pocket, right, India is the best place to go right now for many, many people. And that's put us in a good spot relatively. That China mein paisa nahi ja raha. India is good. Brazil is not looking too good. Russia, of course, is untouchable, right? And therefore, India is positioned very well. But within that, obviously, people will be very discerning on where they invest, which company and how they invest, because of the higher risk being perceived, given the contraction globally in financial markets. But India will be all right.
I've been meeting foreign investors from 94, 300 investors a year when our CFO, Arnab, only KK Mystery used to come after 96. And we have sold India for so many years. So India is certainly on people's map, but we make it difficult for them to get money into India. To open a demat account for a foreign investor, you've got to do something with the embassy and all kind of things. To get a PAN number, we've got to do some funny thing and sign physically. Nobody signs physically. I was told that the sovereign of a neighboring country, very rich person, wanted to invest in India, but it took him 4 months to open an account with the repository, and he was signing in Arabic so that, it didn't come in the field, and he gave up. We're the only country in the world which make it difficult for people to get money in. Once they get money in, they make money head over heels. We got to open up and get all the money. I keep telling government, go to Japan, get $100 billion of money payable after 50 years at 0.5% interest to build up infrastructure. They'll give you the money. And because after 50 years, the person who gave the money is not there, and the person who took the money is not there, why bother? Get the great infrastructure, right? We got to learn how to take money from foreign capital. Foreign capital is fantastic. They got surplus money. Go take how much ever you want and invest in a country fondly, and it's okay. Let the government should not take the debt. Private sector can take the debt, right? That's why we need an Adani. He knows how to take money. He's raising $10 billion of capital. We should applaud him because he's going to invest in India. He's going to create the largest alternate energy company in India. He's going to create the largest cement company in the world. He's going to create the largest transmission company, the largest port company. We should applaud them. We need this kind of entrepreneurs to take risks, hopefully with foreign capital and not from our banks. Our banks are giving money too, but he's a great entrepreneur. Look at Dhirubhai Ambani, what he did. He transformed India. Look at Mukesh Ambani. He spent $40 billion to give us Jio. 23 GB of data every single month for every individual in the country. For 100 rupees, unlimited data. The cheapest data plan in India. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. $6.6 billion of UPI transactions every month. How will it happen without a mobile phone and a cheap data plan? Indians spend 7 hours a day looking at the internet. You go anywhere in India, everybody is watching movies. I don't know what they're watching. I mean, Sohail knows because he monitors them. They're watching all kind of stuff, right? Now, we need great entrepreneurs. We need young people to think big, and we got to think big. Foreign capital will come. You got to go market. Foreign capital will come if you go and sell. You go and get market. Tell them you're going to get 30% a year, and I'm going to be the greatest investor. Out of 100, maybe 30 will buy the argument and give you money. Go get the money.
So, both of you mentioned about the China angle in all of this, and I was attending a global conference, I think about 4 years back in 2018, late 2018. And one of the speakers there mentioned about China plus one strategy, which honestly wasn't even a word at that time, a phrase at that time. And he mentioned that India needs to be proactive at this point in time. The world is going to look beyond China in terms of supply chain diversification. And this time India needs to be proactive and not reactive. Else again, countries like Philippines, Vietnam are going to take those supply chains away. And fortunately, right at the start of COVID, April 2020, India did come out with a massive PLI policy. And I think it has done phenomenal wonders, and I'm sure Mr. Pai is laughing. He would tell us some stories for that. But the reality is that that policy alone has galvanized the manufacturing ecosystem in India. And I was reading, I think this morning in Economic Times, I think what Apple is exporting $4 billion of mobile phones from India this year, which is a phenomenal number. What else do you think, Mr. Pai, India should be doing structurally now? So while
Look, we have to go market the country. I want Suhail Seth to create a marketing strategy for India and lead the marketing drive for the next 5 years instead of going having nice dinners all over the world and get us $500 billion of capital in 5 years. Right, Arnab? Yeah, that's what we do. See, we have to market. The world is built on marketing. Let me tell you an instance, Arnab. An American kid will sell a $25 stuff for $100 and make the consumer feel that it's got a great stuff. An Indian will sell a $100 stuff for $25 and feel sorry for the consumer. You don't feel sorry for the consumer. You go suck it to them. You understand? We have to market. What we lack is not the great institution, the great banks. You know, Bank of Baroda quoting at 0.5 times book, 6.6 times book. HDFC is 4 times book. The great bank, good management, making obscene amount of profits. Why they're quoting at 0.6? They got to market better. Yes, the owner is the government of India and Delhi, and you know, it's difficult with Delhi and all that. But we have to market. The PE of a company in the listed market is a question of the faith investors have in you, and you have to market, you have to market, you have to market, you have to market. Please market this poor billionaire. I mean, you know, if you market him and his PE goes up to 60, 70, we'll get more valuation, Suhail. Suhail, you got to really work in the future.
But sir,
You know,
besides...
Arnab, we need a fourth chair here, and Sohail needs to come up. You know, Sohail, you got to answer that.
And besides putting Mr. Sohail said under more pressure, what else do you think India should be doing structurally?
We got good policies, we got everything, we got a bad image, we got a negative image. Let's be careful. And the negative image is buttressed by the left, who created negative thing. About the hijab controversy, to say there's a ban on hijab. There's no ban on hijab in this country. You can wear whatever you want. You can go nude in the streets. We are okay. We're the most liberal country in the world. But we got a bad image because we don't know how to address the global media. And we don't know how to get the image. We have to build our image. We have to get the best companies go out. We got to get the best marketing czars to go out. And we got to build the brand. And we got to do it. We got to lobby in the US. We don't put money in lobbying. US is a lobbying market. Democracy is a system. Democracy is a system of competitive lobbying. We don't lobby. We don't understand. We got to lobby. We got to spend money. We got to buy some lords and others to talk great things and have dinner parties, right? That's what everybody does. That's what the Chinese did. The Chinese bought over all opinion makers in America. They got what they want, right? So we go to market. You should go on a road show 200 days a year. He must go on a road show 150 days a year instead of sitting in Delhi and coming for a conference like this. You must go get money, man. Marketing. I'm honest. We got everything in this country. Please believe me. We have to market more.
Yeah, so listen, my personal experience when I talk to companies, including, especially in manufacturing, China plus one is happening. Okay, and there are people who are getting orders from US companies, European companies, saying that, listen, I know you're 40% more expensive than China right now, but I'll buy your product anyway. I see you as a strategic sourcing base. And we know over time as you scale, you will come down to China's cost levels. So what we have to do is make sure that enough of this comes our way rather than go to Vietnam or Philippines. Right? For that, you know, we got to ensure that the traditional Inspector Raj does not come in the way. And that is implementation at the state level. Mohan, you don't agree? What do you think?
Look, Mukesh Ambani has grown so fast. Adani is growing so fast. Right? Tatas are growing so fast in manufacturing. Yes, there are challenges. People take bribes. In my state of Karnataka, you know, bribing has gone a multiple fold, but it's still growing. We still have 15 million square feet of grade A office space being observed every single year. See, I tell you, let me give an example, Sanjeev, because we got to think very differently. The IT industry started exporting and addressing the global markets. The global markets is 1.5 trillion. When we started, the Indian market was 50 billion. Today, we export 178 billion. 60% of global outsourcing comes here. 5.1 million people are employed. 500,000 people have hired last year, the largest in the world. The industry last year was 225 billion. This year, there'll be $200 billion for export. $250 billion of industry is the largest industry in India. Will create 700,000 jobs. Right? Of the top 10 software service companies, the market value in the world, 5 are Indian. Of the top 5, 3 are Indian. Of the 3 million employees in the top 10, 2.1 million are Indians. Of the 6 million Indians in America in software, 1 million are Indians. Of the 9 million working for American companies globally, 3.5 million are Indians. Look at this, man. We did it. Why can't everybody do it? You got to scale up. You got to address the global markets, not the Indian markets. You know, Arnab, one Maruti, I think, had an operating margin of 18% for autos. Ford had 8 or 9% in the best year. Why such high profits? Levers has got 30% operating margin before advertisement. They spend 9% of sales on advertisement. No FMCG company earns 30% operating. Ask Suhail, he'll tell you. Everybody wants fat profits. You got to look at the world, expand, and become very big globally. That's what the ambition should be, not this Indian market. You got to go to, other countries and conquer instead of spending time in Delhi. Go do it, man. You are young. Go do it. See, I'm serious. Address the global market of 92 trillion, not the Indian market of 3.15 trillion is small. And once you have scale, then you are going to be global master. How do you build the multinationals? We have to build the Indian multinationals. We have to go out. We have to raise capital. You understand? And everything is here in this country. We can badmouth India till the cows come home. But we have to change India. Murthy used to tell us, Narnab, he said, it seems Dick Whittington was in London, went to London from a small city, and he met somebody in the street. He said, sir, I heard the streets of London are paved with gold. I couldn't find any. Then he said, young man, the streets of London are not paved with gold. The streets of London are not paved. And you got to do the paving. So we got to do it. All of us in this room, I got to do it. We got to do it, man. You understood what I'm saying, Sanjeev? Sanjeev, you have grown so much in this country. You have been through all this pain. Despite that, you have grown. Am I right? Without that, you have been 10 times the size, right?
I'll go overseas. I'll take Sohail with me.
And I think Mr. Pai is going to ensure that Mr. Bikhchandani takes up the executive roles at InfoEdge again. In terms of image management, a funny incident again. A few days back, a friend of mine called me from Abu Dhabi. He works there with the Royal Fund. And he was saying that India needs to work at its image management big time. So people in UAE are talking about which country is going to come to their side if there is a war with Iran, Iraq, Syria, etc. And the only news which play about India in UAE is that Mr. Kejriwal's auto was stopped by BJP in Gujarat. And this is honestly bad because all these people are only talking about these stupid things about India. And I think India can do a lot with image management, Mr. Seth. I think you can help there. And in terms of getting back to the question about structural reforms, while everything seems to be going our way in terms of macroeconomics right now, where do you think India can go wrong? What are the potential pitfalls we should be avoiding?
All the pitfalls gone wrong, it will happen. There's high corruption in Bangalore, corruption in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, everywhere. Because they're rich state, people are making money. There is a breakdown of law and order in Bengal. There's anarchy in Delhi because of the anarchist party. A lot of things are happening in this country, but they're all par for the course. We've been through this. We are a cacophonous democracy. A lot of things happen. You blow up everything else in this country, right? About this. Arnab, I want to make an unpopular statement. We've got 200 million Muslims in this country. It's the only country which has given them superior rights under the constitution. They can follow their personal laws, right? They get special money for their upliftment, correct? And we do so much for them as a country because our founding fathers said so. But today it's because some small lynching incidents, very small incidents, these are all crimes. They should be punished. Suddenly everybody is getting lynched. How can 200 million people be hurt? They're living together with everybody. Every day they're having meals together. They're joining together. Look at the negative image that's been done. Look, we have problems. We are sorting it out. But that should not inhibit you from doing what you want to achieve, man. The world has got surplus money. We must go get it. We must go market. It's up to us for not getting it, okay? So we should not wallow in self-pity. We got problems. We don't have power. We don't have this. Come on. It's okay. We are an emerging country. We are growing. Even US doesn't have power. Suhail, tell me in Europe, are they going to shiver in the dark because of lack of gas? Correct. Look at what is happening there, right? Go to San Francisco. There are homeless people on the street. In San Francisco, Arnab, you go to a shop and rob less than $900, take away less than $900, there's no police will go after you. Yeah. And you can sit in front of the shop and nobody can go. 10% of San Francisco has gone away from the city. That's what somebody told me who's been there. Man, we don't talk about it in India. Why are we so negative? Let us be positive. Let us focus on right stuff. Let's grow. Am I right? There's so many good things happening in this country. Let's not talk about problems. There are problems, we're solving them. Modi has done more for the poor of this country in 8 years than any prime minister in India's history. The data says so. 25 lakh crores has been transferred to the accounts of all the poor people in this country in 8 years. 25 lakh crores. 5 crore houses are being built. 468 million bank accounts are being opened. 1,80,000 crores of deposits are there. Look at all this, man. No country has done this. Why are we talking about all these negative problem? Let's look at solutions. Let us look at what to do. Let us do 10x. Annab, please take the flight to wherever you want to go and raise your valuation to 5 billion, Annab. Yeah, we'll help you out. And Sanjeev will put $1 billion.
So
Don't
take
worry.
Sohail with you. Huh? Absolutely. No, look, I mean, I'll just give a couple of stories. So we launched Naukri in 1997, right? It was on one floor of my father's house in East Delhi. The voltage was 160, right? The power would go 3-4 hours a day, right? We still worked. So entrepreneurs will overcome hardships if you want it bad enough, right? And there'll be enough Indians who want it bad enough. So I would second what Mohan said, that listen, we will overcome our problems and we'll make it.
My final question to both of you, some pieces of advice to the Indian startup ecosystem, the founders, while we are weathering this bit of a funding storm of sorts.
Look, the sun is going to rise in the morning, set in the evening. Be optimistic. Keep your head down and work. Work 24/7, 365 days a year. Focus on the business. Run a very good sustainable model and go market. You'll raise capital. Don't worry about all this. These are all part of growing up. These are all part of growing up. It's just 18 months, 24 months. We've been through 30, 35 years of business. We've seen all this up and down every time. When it goes up, oh, Mera Bharat Mahan. When it comes from Mera Bharat Gaya. No Gaya also. Gaya is still there in Bihar, right? It's been there for thousands of years, be for thousands of years. Why do we bother? See, my advice is, please stick and build sustainable businesses. It's going to take you 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Valuation is not the end game. Valuation is the means to building a business, and build it sustainably, and you'll do well, and you'll create jobs. That is it. The market is there. I want to end, Arnab, when I was growing up, I graduated in 1979. Diwar was the movie. Angry young man with nothing in him, right? A failed country. You know who were the heroes then? Haji Mastan and Karim Lala. Even you heard of them, right? We are a failed country. From there we have come to say our heroes are Sanjeev, Bikhchandani and Paytm, Vijay Shekhar Sharma and Baiju. Baiju is $22 billion, man. He got $22 billion. Have you met him? Such a confident young man. He will sell anything to you over the next 1 hour and take $1 billion from your pocket, even if you don't have it. That's what we need.
So I think Sohail's job is under threat.
But you would want to share...
I'm not being facetious. I'm not being silly. I'm not being facetious. All I'm saying is, look, go out and get it. Constraints are no constraints, and you can overcome them. We need optimism. We got great hope. This is a growing country. The country constrained by supply. Everything is in our favor. We are a young nation of 25, 29 years average, right? Go get it. The world is a big place. Make the world your stage and you'll succeed. It takes time. It's not going to happen tomorrow. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of self-sacrifice, a lot of travel. But you're going to do it. Arnab is a hero to me. He started his own channel with zero money, right, Arnab? Some savings were there. But look at him today. The most successful TV channel in India. Millions of followers. Whatever Arnab says becomes the big show. Correct? He destroyed everybody, right? Why can't you be an Arnab? Right, Arnab?
I don't want to give Arnab competition. Mr. Bikhchandani, your some piece of wisdom for...
See, what I always tell young startups, right, and I'll go back to that advice, that the customer's money is better than the investor's money. Because if you're getting the customer's money and you're getting it at a price that's higher than your cost, then chances are you have a viable business and a good idea, as long as you can get enough customers, right? And if you're getting the customer's money, the investor's money will almost certainly follow. Because investors love to invest behind businesses that are getting customer money. Right? On the other hand, if you get the investor's money first, there's no guarantee that the customer's money will follow. Because getting investors' money very often is about impressing a couple of MBAs in their early 30s, with a PowerPoint, right? And he believes you and he gives you some money, and then you go out, and then if you don't get customer money, because the customer is not going to be influenced by that. The customer is not your mother, not your father, not your cousin, not your brother, not your sister. The customer is somebody who will give you money a second time, only if it worked the first time. Right? So if you focus on getting customer money, and you are successful at it, many problems get solved. So focus on the customer, is what I'd say.
In my closing remarks, actually both the gentlemen sitting here, irrespective of the funding environment, last 5 years of massive bull run, I think, and I've seen on the sidelines, their advice to the startups have remained exactly the same. focus on frugality, focus on business building, value creation instead of valuation. So thanks a lot, Mr. Pai, Mr. Bikhchandani, for a fantastic session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pai, Mr. Bikhchandani, and Lovkesh Kapoor. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a really buoyant and interactive session. We'd like to now take a short break for lunch. Lunch is being served at Rani Bagh, which is outside on the lawns. We've got signages on the way for you to get to the venue for lunch. Please be back here for the sessions that will begin at 3 o'clock. Please be back here on time. Do take your valuables with you. We will not be able to take care of them if you leave them behind. Thank you.
Platform Group of Companies, established in 1996 by young and innovative entrepreneur Ajay Harinath Singh, has emerged as one of the fastest growing Indian global business